Welcome to Diaspora, the show where we share the remarkable stories of immigrants from the Indian subcontinent. I'm your host, Aditya Mehta, and each week we sit down with individuals who have made the journey over and explore their experiences, their challenges, their triumphs. We delve into their unique perspectives on adapting to a new culture while staying connected to their roots. Today, we are joined by Ekansh Bhatia, an entrepreneur based in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's born in Ranchi in eastern India, but he grew up and worked in Surat in western India before moving to Canada not once but twice. So, like me, he's had two innings in North America. He's been an entrepreneur in Canada and he recently moved to North Carolina to set up a property management company. So, lots of interesting things to talk about there. Ekansh, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Aditya. Thanks for having me.
So, my standard opening question is, if Surat were a North American city, what would it be?
I know you mentioned that you have been into Surat before plague, but when I went to Surat, I was in the developing part of Surat, and I have seen Surat developing where I did not see roads, and the roads were developing, the infrastructure was developing. Compared to North America, I would say Miami would be a proper city which will give that vibe. It's the beach is there in Surat,
Yeah,
amazing food, so I can see Miami taking that place for me in Surat.
that's a great comparison. Of late, we've had a couple of guests from Surat, and one compared it to Dallas, one compared it to Houston, like big growing cities, oil and gas, that kind of thing. So Miami is definitely an interesting comparison. So, our guests tend to be from different parts of the country, and our audience is slowly getting exposed to how India is actually many countries rolled into one. So if someone is from Eastern India and they live in Western India, it's a whole different atmosphere, different culture, different food, and many people, don't get that right away. So what was it like growing up not Gujarati, but in Gujarat? Did you ever feel like an outsider, or was it a pretty inclusive culture? How was that experience in Surat?
So, as you know, I was born in Ranchi, and I think at a very early age, I moved to Surat because my dad opted to be into textile business, Surat
Sure.
being a textile hub.
Yeah.
I remember those days when in Gujarat, Gujarati language was compulsory.
Yeah.
And coming from Ranchi, I used to speak fluent Hindi. I
Yeah.
was in ICSE board in Ranchi, one
Yeah.
of the very good reputed school called St. Anthony's. And then while I moved to Surat, I started studying in Vidya Bharati and gradually moved to St. Xavier's. But being Gujarati as subject, that was a thing where I thought that I'm left out. I did not know how to speak. I did
Yeah.
not know how to write. And I was I would say, a very bright student in my class because ICSE compared to Gujarat board is
Yeah.
not the same, as you know.
Yeah.
So Gujarati was the subject which was always pulling me down. Like if remove
Yeah.
the Gujarati subject, I was the first ranker in my
Sure.
school. But that time, my only ask with me was just I want to learn this so that I can crack and be the top
Yeah.
ranker in my
Right.
class. So I tried learning Gujarati. I was the favorite student of my Gujarati sir, which I still know his name was Mr. Tapia.
Yeah.
And he told me that which essay would come because essay was having the highest
Yeah.
weightage in
Yeah,
the
of course.
exam. So I was like, okay, because I was a salesperson there as well. I said that, hey, sir, this is my situation. I really want to do something. I want to learn Gujarati, but coming right now in the first year, I cannot. He was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll give you some tips. Do make sure you learn that.
Sure.
I tried learning that, and that's how I got interest in that. However, I was not enjoying the history subject overall in English or Gujarati, but there was a
Yeah.
lot of curriculum that we used to cover at that time. But I think Gujarat and specifically Surat has been a city of immigrants. So I did not felt left out because there was many Rajasthanis from Udaipur, Jodhpur,
Yeah.
Jaipur, people from Maharashtra, Nagpur, Pune, people
Yeah.
from Bihar. Everybody was moving because it was a growing city. The
Yeah.
textile was growing, the diamond industry was growing.
Yeah.
I think it had a very mixed demographic, and the Gujarati people as well, they are so welcoming. We got in love with the food immediately when we landed
Yep.
into Surat, and the dishes there, I still miss it. Like, it's been many years, but I still have the taste, locha, idra, khaman,
Yeah.
paduri, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
That is something that got me in love with Gujarati food. And I think loving Gujaratis and loving anyone, it starts from your tummy, right? If you like
Sure.
the way, you will start
Yeah.
exploring the things. And the people were welcoming. I never felt left out, because at I was, I think, sixth grade or seventh grade when I moved to Surat.
Hmm.
But I think I still consider Surat as my Karam Bhumi,
Yeah.
which is my,
Place where you were destined to
yeah,
work and
yeah.
start
So
working.
absolutely. And I love that. And I have learned a lot with top businessmen, whether it's Kathiawadis, whether it's Gujarati Patels and all, mess from Mehsana and all. So that was a
Yeah.
good learning, because we had restaurant operating in Ranchi, but the business mindset that I learned in Surat was very, very good and very, very informed. I was always, from the day one, I always felt welcomed, and I
Yeah.
was an
Yeah.
integral part of the Surat city.
That's good to hear. And it mirrors what some of our other guests have said. There's a massive Odia community in Surat which works in the diamond polishing industry. And
Mhm.
it kind of speaks to the pragmatism of the local population that, these are immigrants coming and doing a job that we don't really want to do. They're living, like good citizens. They're not causing any trouble. So why should we have a problem? Whereas in
Mhm.
Maharashtra, it's a very different mindset. And that mindset is similar to where you see it in, be it Texas versus Mexico or the UK versus Romania, that, the immigrants coming and taking our jobs is kind of a very strong thing. But in Gujarat, I don't see that. Surat is obviously a textile hub, it's a diamond hub, and it used to be the world's biggest city without an airport at one point of time.
I would say still the airport is not fully
Yeah,
functioning. We don't have
yeah.
international flights.
Oh yeah, I mean you would if you had a Surat to Antwerp flight, I think it would do very well. We had a guest from Belgium recently, so we were talking about that. Surat also has a reputation for being a very clean city. There was a big, for lack of a better word, plague in the 90s where a lot of people died because of just the general lack of public hygiene, and that lesson has been learned and never forgotten. And I'm constantly amazed at how clean Surat is. And it was clean even when the rest of India wasn't. It wasn't a thing in the rest of the country. I relate to your point about the Gujarati school because I was in a school in Bombay which had no Gujarati because that's not the norm in Bombay. My parents put me in a Gujarati heritage school from fifth grade, and I came in, and everybody else was fluent in Gujarati, and me being a Gujarati was not. I didn't know how to read and write. I could speak it, obviously,
Mhm.
and I really struggled. And like you, my marks went down because of the Gujarati. But in eighth grade, we had the option to switch to Hindi French for 50 marks each or keep Gujarati for 100. So I ditched it uh, to get better marks. And I can read Gujarati to save my life, sure, but not as well as I would like to. So with my son, till he was the age of 2, we only spoke to him in Gujarati. So he thought we don't speak English. And now, as a result, he speaks fluent Gujarati and he
Very nice.
understands contextually Hindi and Marathi what we're saying, though he responds back in English. The preservation of language is very important, I feel. And I'm glad my parents did that, even though it affected my marks in some grades. I think I'm a better person for it. So, you mentioned in your briefing notes that you had a dream to move abroad when you were growing up, and you put it on maybe not hold, but like the back burner while your family sent your brother to North America. So, tell me more about the motivation for wanting to move abroad and how that sacrifice panned out in getting your brother to go first.
Yeah. So I think moving back, I belong to a middle class, typical Indian family, elder son having responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I just thought at that point of time, because you did not had chat GPT or the global overview, what's happening in the
Yeah.
world. I just thought that if you go out, you would be fine. And I always wanted those clean air, nice environment, and all
Yeah.
those things. And so I always wanted. So my first, when I was in 10th grade, I remember a day there was this educational counseling happening in some of a five-star hotel, and
Yeah.
I went there. I was very
Yeah.
curious, okay, what things are happening. So there was this institute called International Institute of Hotel Management, IAHM. And
Yeah.
I wanted to do hotel management, because I thought that there would be this thing that I want to do. Switzerland was my dream place to be in.
Yeah.
The fees was 3,000 franc. I remember at that point of time, with my personal savings, I had 1,000 franc, which I told the counselor that, hey, you know what? I have this money and I will bring my mom tomorrow and we will talk. And so I remember I was 10th grade. I was holding my mom's hand that, mom, I want to go here. This is the place that I
Yeah.
wanted to be in. My mom at that point of time, she was like, hey, we are good here. Like, I want to be together. I don't want to send you out that we just lose you and you are there, because we belong. We four, we grew together, my mom, dad, my brother.
Yeah.
We are very integrated as a family, and we know what's going on in each other's life, which at that point of time we wanted to be connected. My dad was there, my brother was more young at that time. So she told that, no, let's not go here, and maybe you can find something here. Maybe you'll be less successful, but we'll be together, like
Yeah.
the typical parents advice, which I opted. But that dream was always within. I wanted to explore things, but at that point of time I started settling up in Surat into some industries. I studied commerce. I have a degree in accounting and auditing, which I never enjoyed, basically.
Yeah.
But I got an early interest in real estate, into sales and purchase. I did manage a lot of commercial and residential properties, right from showing in the maps to delivering it in person with the keys.
Yeah.
So that was the style. I was working in the development part of it, like how the things are done. So those exposure, I started enjoying my life there. But that was still in my back pocket that I want to go. But when my brother, his name is D, when he was settling in, I was like, why don't you try? Because sometimes he's 5 years younger to me, so I'm like a father to him. I was like, hey, I like in DDLJ it said that, he said that if I have not lived my dream, why don't you go there and
Yeah.
live it? So
Yeah.
this was the thing that I wanted him to live in.
Yeah, so just context for our listeners, DDLJ is a Bollywood movie called Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge. It's one of the, I think it is the longest running movie in a movie theater. I think it's
Oh
been
yeah,
running for 20 something years in Maratha Mandir in Mumbai. And it's a classic. So if you want to get introduced to Bollywood, it's one of the movies you would start with. But yeah, go on.
absolutely. I watched it several times
Yeah,
and I wanted him to live that life. So we arranged those savings and all those things, and we sent him to, yeah, I think he landed to New York and he started his journey. It was, I would say that I'm very proud where he is now. He made sure that he did it very well, being a student, now being a citizen and
yeah,
operating businesses. That was really cool. And I think I betted on the right horse at that time. So this journey is, we are talking around 2015. I was quite well settled doing real estate. I
yeah,
got married in 2013. 2015, I had my first child, Saisha. She's my daughter. She's 11 almost now. But meanwhile, what was happening is, when you're living the same life again and again and every day, it gets monotonous.
yeah,
And I was just feeling that. I was like, hey, you know what? Let me try again. This time, I'm not looking for going for studies and all those things. So I was going on a trip with my family to Vaishno Devi in Jammu and Kashmir.
yeah.
So I met
Which
a
is a
couple.
religious pilgrimage spot for our listeners.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So when I met someone who was from Toronto, and this person, and I got interested in knowing his journey, because an
yeah,
Indian on the same, like he was just on the berth across to me. And like in Indian trains, like if somebody comes in, we always want, okay, maybe he can, if the train is empty, why do you want to sit here, right? So you
sure.
want to have that complete six
Yeah,
seats
yeah,
with you. But they just asked the TT to come in and they got that seat. I was like, okay, fine. And then I started talking. We visited Vaishno Devi together. I started exploring that option. Okay, how did you do this? And he showed me the path. So I'm a very firm believer that destiny makes you meet people for a reason, right?
yeah,
And I think the first he told me the steps, I was not knowing. Like, I was the first person to think of going abroad.
yeah,
And he told me that these are the steps. And I did contacted many agents. Finally, I got someone from Ahmedabad who guided me along, that this is how you can go.
yeah,
I landed Toronto. He offered me his basement to live in at that point of time.
yeah,
So that was the start of the journey.
yeah,
While I was moving to Toronto, I was the chief marketing manager of my company, which was one of the top South Gujarat real estate firm.
yeah,
So I was doing marketing and sales, and I thought that Toronto would have some kind of opportunities like that.
Yeah.
But it was not true. I tried applying for all these marketing managers job.
Yeah.
I was like, I degraded. Okay, let's go for a banking job, maybe
Yeah.
something entry level and
Did you
all.
face that? Do you have Canada experience question?
I did that. Some in some places, I also face that you are too qualified for this job,
Yeah. Right.
right? So I think
Yeah.
it's the same journey. And what happens with whenever somebody moves to from India, they go to Canada and they think Toronto is the place.
Yeah.
I was there for a month. I got my driver's license, but I didn't buy a car. But because I was dealing with such large volumes in crores in India,
Yeah.
people at that point of time in Canada, like they were not talking about these returns and the money things that we were doing in
Yeah.
Surat. Real estate is an unorganized industry while I was there and working
Yeah.
there. Like we
Yeah.
used to work on chitti, which is called just a letter. If I write 500, that's 500,000
Yeah.
rupees in Indian currency. So that's how I was dealing with the things. And here it was quite different structure.
Yeah.
I did not like staying in Toronto, and within a month I decided to go back. I came with my full family. I got the PR, I
Mm.
applied all those things. I came with my full family. I thought it
Yeah.
would be a soft landing,
Yeah.
then see how it goes. So I stayed for a month. I told his name was Nipin. I stayed in his basement. I'm still very grateful to him that he allowed me in that shared space. A few days I was in his home till the basement was getting ready. But when I came here, I just thought that this place is not for me. I'm happy where I am because most of the Surtis are very satisfied where they are living. You
Yeah.
have the best food, you have
Oh
the
yeah.
best air, you have a
Yeah.
good tropical climate, and you live a very luxurious life
Yeah.
there because luxury is cheap and you have so many resources to make money there.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll go there, I'll go back. I got my same job. I started working in the same company. I had the same reputation, which was very rare in this situation when you leave a job and
Yeah.
you're going at the same place. Because, but
Yeah.
I did not burn those connection. I still had that. And when I went that, hey, this I'm back, and they were like, please join us, right?
Right.
So I think that was a factor. Like those 4 months, 4 or 5 months, I think I went back in November. Probably I did not like Canada because I landed in October 25th in Toronto and I stayed there till November 25th. I still remember those days, those brutal cold days. I am from
Yeah.
Surat. Winters is like
Yeah.
18 degrees Celsius there, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the maximum it goes down
Yeah.
to. And I survived minus 35 degrees Celsius in Canada, which
Yeah.
was like, hey, I don't want to be like, I was talking to a few of my friends and they told like I wouldn't be in a city where I cannot go out of my house.
Sure.
And I was like, that's true. And that time I am comparing my situation is I don't have a car. I'm traveling by bus.
Yeah.
I'm not meeting the same mindsets of people that I should have met.
Yeah.
All these things were bothering me for the 4 or 5 months, whichever how many years, how many months I was there in India
Yeah.
after moving back to India.
Yeah. So let's pause here. Let's take a short break. And when we come back, I want to talk about one thing you mentioned, which is not meeting the right type of people when you went to Canada. So
Yeah.
stay tuned and we'll be right back after these messages. Okay. Welcome back to Diaspora on KKNW, where we share interesting stories of first generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent. We're talking to Ekansh Bhatia, a serial entrepreneur. And before we get back to talking to Ekansh, I want to take a moment to remind you to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can find all our episodes in video format there, right from the first one. So, Ekansh, as you were going into the break, you mentioned that when you came into Canada and you decided after a month to head back, and then you said you didn't meet the right kind of people. Tell me more about that and how important was that to your make or break in Canada?
I think when you come to a new place, and I realized it because I practiced that in Canada and that was the winning edge. So why I was saying that I did not meet right minded people is because the efforts were missing. I was traveling in bus, I was because I was not driving and I was
Yeah.
going to job fairs and all those things. So I think I was surrounded by people like me
Yeah.
who was still struggling and trying to settle in. I felt that the need of meeting people who have already flourished.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be into real estate, I should have met someone who was into real estate doing things in a very larger space. So I
Sure.
remember There is this person Raman Dua. I saw his hoardings everywhere. His company name is Save Max, and I was like, oh, this person is doing well. But I did not know how to contact him
Yeah.
because the real estate thing was quite different. Every places were having the number, but I was like, what would I call him and say,
Sure.
right? So I did not know the steps, how to meet people, how to network with people, and how to apply for job, how to make a resume, right? So those things are very different, and the advice to the new people who are moving to a new country, it's all about networking. To US recently, and what I have seen and noticed is a vast change what I was in the first day in Canada and what I
Mm-hmm.
am in the first day in US, because
Sure.
I practiced, I
Yeah.
met people like, people say that I don't know about the IT sectors and all those kind of things. I'm talking about my specific real
Yeah.
estate or property management field. My basic day-to-day job is to just meet new people, and I genuinely take interest in knowing them, their journey, how did they come here, and what are they doing, what was your first deal look like, how did you break even, like even to a random general contractor. The good part is everybody wants to talk about themselves,
Of course.
and if you're giving that ear to them, you are just acquiring all the good learnings that they have learned from their experiences,
Yeah.
which I think every new immigrant, while they are coming to a new place, they should do, which I did not do at the Toronto time. And I thought
Sure.
that this is Toronto because I was not even introduced to how to do. I did not know anyone when I
Yeah.
landed except a person whom I met once in Vaishno Devi. I did not
Sure.
know anyone else, no extended family, no one. When I moved back, I was talking about those 4 months that I couldn't sleep because I thought that how can I give 32, 33 years to a city,
Yeah.
and I want to go to a new place, and within a month or a year, I just want to expect the same thing and the same
Yeah.
position or the same
Yeah.
feeling. So I think I was quite irreasonable at that point of time what I expected from Toronto
Yeah.
while I came here. But though that fact of not giving my 100%, not being all in, did not let me sleep.
Right.
I was like, hey, how many people? And when I got PR, I think the scores were pretty high. I'm talking, I don't even remember, maybe around the 500s or something like that, which
Yeah.
dropped drastically in the coming years. But
Yeah.
I thought that how many people are getting that opportunity to go to
Yeah.
Canada? How many
Yeah.
people are getting those PRs? So those 4 months was very crucial for me to set my brain up. And this time when I wanted to come back, I wanted to settle in.
Yeah.
And I just picked, like, I studied the data, like what I think. I was looking at unemployment chart, where is the unemployment, the graphs is going, and I found Ottawa to be very consistent in terms of employment, being a government town in Canada
Yeah.
and all those things. Toronto sometimes, whenever something happened, the unemployment rate dropped.
Hmm.
Sometimes it was high. Of course, Toronto was a busy city, but Ottawa was growing, and I always figured, because I have been to Surat, if some city is growing, you
Yeah.
want to sit in that train and grow
Yeah.
together, because there
Sure.
would be opportunities coming in. So I went to Ottawa. I started into retail business as a salesperson. Soon, I was within 6, 7 months, I became a sales manager. After 6, 7 months, I became the general manager of the company. I was working with Ashley Home Store. I was
Yeah.
taking care of the Ottawa location for that. However, of course, being in North America, as you know, and many people know, you should have, like, there is no choice of that. You should have a second income source, which people think that it's okay to have one. I'm satisfied. It's not about money. It's about making sure you're consistent in what you're doing, because things can happen anytime. There
Yeah.
was 3 W's of Canada, which everybody prompted me at that early age. This was wife, weather, and work. This thing can happen. This thing can be off from you anytime. Have you heard this quote?
No,
Have
I haven't. Maybe it's an Eastern
Toronto
Canada
means,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So WWW was the
That's
thing.
yeah, that's a good mindset. Like a couple of things I want to touch upon. One is you're very right that when you land and you're only around other new immigrants, your vision is limited by the shared experience of that group of people. And nothing wrong with the new immigrants and what they're doing and what they're trying to do, but if you're here to do something big, then you have to surround yourself because you're the average of the people you spend your time with, right? And also the point you made about you were in Surat for 30 years and then you can't expect the same here. So I look at it this way: when I lived in Bombay and somebody new came to Bombay, did I ever reach out to a new immigrant saying, "Hello, new immigrant, how can I help you?" Why would I? So,
Mhm.
why am I expecting that to be done by the locals of Vancouver or Toronto? So, we realized very quickly that the onus was on us as new immigrants to reach out to people and show them value in knowing us and the
Mhm.
perspective we bring as people who have been living around the world and have US experience and India experience and whatnot. And I found that when I did that, people were much more receptive to spending time with me and helping me out. And very early on, through the one person we knew in all of Canada, which was a second degree connection, we were introduced to a group of people who had been there for 20 plus years. So
Mhm.
their mindset, their discussions, their conversations were all very different than other new immigrants would have. They didn't talk about, which PR you have and what survival job you're doing. They were
True.
talking about, let's go camping in the summer, let's go for a hockey game. So that became our baseline and that benefited us immensely as well. And I think when you came back in your second innings and now that you've moved to the US, I do see that you're definitely doing that, learning from the first time. So the second time that you came in, you said that you eventually had a property management business. How different was it being an employee in Canada versus a business owner in Canada? How was that mindset shift and was it pretty easy for you to do?
So as I was into Ashley, I took my license in an early stage in Toronto itself, but not in Toronto while I was moving to. I subscribed in Toronto, but I completed the course while I moved to Ottawa.
Sure.
So I started doing real estate and I was managing few properties of investors who invested in rental, and that was free of cost. Like I was like, okay, I'm your realtor. If something happens, I'll be there. I did not even know what property management is at that point of
Right.
time.
It's not a
Right.
thing in India anyways, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is in Ottawa I'm talking.
Yeah, so I mean, if you were living in India and that's not an industry that exists, it would not occur to you naturally that this is something that I can make into a business of its own. Because, like you said, your broker helps you with leasing and is around in case something happens. So
Mhm.
you were doing a similar thing in Ottawa.
Yeah, because even getting business from, there are many real estate agents. Like
Yeah,
every house has a real estate agent in Canada at that point of time. Real estate was booming there. So I was like, how can I fit in by giving some extra service, right? And I'm a person who has always been in sales and customer service. So we want to make sure I give the optimum level of service to my clients, and that was a part of the service.
very interesting. What prompted the move to the US?
Oh.
Was it just family or more?
Ah, my father was visiting me in Canada, and he came for 4 or 5 months, and his plan was like he will stay there and then come to my brother. My brother and his family lives in Raleigh, North Carolina. And Canada, when I moved to Canada, it was always thought as a gateway to move to US because that
Mm-hmm.
was the ultimate goal. But because I got settled in Canada, I was just delaying that. Hey, what's the need of the change? I can just fly with a direct flight
Yeah,
going to Montreal and coming to Raleigh directly. So when my father was there, he passed away, and that was, I think that was the lowest part of my life. At the lowest time of my life, I did not know, I just wanted change in my life, and I wanted to be, of course, close to my brother because he was shattered.
yeah,
My mom was like, how would my mom live in India? We have houses
sure,
in India, but we did not wanted her to be alone. So
sure.
there had to be a step that was to be taken, and I was looking at opportunities. What should I do? We have couple of relatives here. Should I go with someone who can sponsor me? Should I go with getting a job? What should I do? Like I explored every option. Should I go with my, maybe I'll ask my Ashley company that, hey, do you want something? I'm not looking for a salary, but if you can sponsor me, I would be happy. Then I think there were some relatives who owns restaurant here. We thought that, okay, let's do that. If I can be a general manager or a store manager there, maybe it suits my profile.
Yeah,
EB5 visa was out of question because I was like, that would be a too much of investment,
yeah.
which we are not looking. Then I think E2 visa started. I started interviewing so many people in different field. I think I at that was a very good learning age and a good diversion because
Mm,
losing a father is something you can feel only when you lose it, right?
yeah, of course.
And it's very special, it's very dear because father is a personality whom you never think that you can go in and say that, hey dad, I really love you, like hug it, hey dad, like I miss you,
Yeah,
right? He was there always on the video call checking on us.
yeah.
and making sure that we are all right. If ever something happened that this is not working out, of course, you're in a new country, sometimes
Yeah.
there are ups and downs. And he used to always say,
Yeah.
everything will be fine, sab theek ho jayega.
Yeah.
So whenever I close my eyes, I still hear that word and I'm
Sure.
connected deeply. I lost his life in my arms. So I'm very, very deeply connected that there is a regret as well. Maybe I could save him or not.
Yeah.
But those setbacks just wanted some change, and I changed everything on
Yeah.
that. I was like, leave everything. I've done that before. Though I am settled, I'm
Yeah.
going to my family. What worse could happen, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I know how to navigate the situation now. I am looking at opportunities,
Yeah.
and that's was the motivation of being together. The good part is, and I think this is very rare in this society as well, we live in a joint family. Me, my family, my mom, we live all together in US in the same house,
Yeah.
which is itself a good management piece, how to manage whose duty it is to cook
Sure.
food, who is taking care of the
Yeah.
dishes, but we have made sure that we are managing it well.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very grateful that we took this step to
Yeah.
be together,
Yeah.
and nothing feels better than being with family.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, thank you for sharing that candid story. I want to give some more context to our listeners on some of the things Ekansh mentioned. First is that the EB5 is a visa program in the US where actually it's a green card program, not even a visa program, where you invest, I believe it's about $800,000 and your whole family gets a green card as long as that money is invested in a qualified type of
Business.
project.
Mhm.
And that's a way for ultra wealthy people to move to the US. So obviously it's not for everyone because you have to have $800,000 sitting around that you can park for a few years. The E2 that he mentioned is also what I used to move. It's especially for Canadian entrepreneurs who wanting to move to the US and set up a business. And it has to be a qualified business, but it's obviously much lower investment and much easier than a green card. It's not a path to a green card. You always be on a visa, and you it keep renewing it till you run the business. But it has a lot of advantages compared to H1 work visa or a L1 visa, where you have freedom to do what you want. The last thing I want to talk about is Ekansh's joint family. So that's a nuance of high context cultures like India, where multiple generations live in the same household. And like he said, there's sometimes always some friction about, because there's a lot of adults with their own family units living in the same house. But the kids get to grow up with grandparents. It's really a village that raises the child. And for in Indian society, it's perfectly normal for a 40-year-old to live with his spouse and kids in the same house where the parents live. Whereas here, it's like, oh, do you live with your mom? In India, it's like, heck yeah, I live with my mom. Like, it's a matter of pride and comfort versus failure in life. So that's another point I wanted to make. Let's take another break right now. And when we come back, I want to focus on what Ekansh does in North Carolina right now and our shared property management experience. And then we can go into other points. So we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Diaspora on KKNW, where we share interesting stories of first generation immigrants from South Asia. We're talking to Ekansh Bhatia. He's a real estate entrepreneur and founder of PMI Raleigh. This is a property management company based in North Carolina. Before we jump back into the conversation, if you like listening to our show, please consider following us on Instagram or leaving us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. So I totally get the rationale for moving to North Carolina. What made you narrow down on property management and PMI specifically? Because my listeners know I own a PMI franchise here in Seattle. So what was your driving force behind that decision for the industry and for PMI in particular?
So it was a wild journey because this was a business that you are investing money, right? You
Yeah.
are investing all those savings that you have
Yeah.
to come to Canada and making sure it has to be right. There is no other option, right? So I started exploring cleaning agencies. I started exploring advertising, printing, sorts of, like, I don't even remember how many people I did talk to, but I think I started enjoying talking to people, the way they are selling their products. I have
Yeah.
never seen that. Like these business consultant, I was like, where are these people? They are just on the laptops and making money. I can do that. At
Right.
one point of time, I thought that I can sell business. Maybe some franchisee holder can hire me, and I can do this very well because
Yeah.
I know this has potential. I know the person wants to come in. I can easily crack this. So my mind was very wavery at that time before even picking the property management. So I came to Raleigh. I was like, hey, this is the place where I want to be with. Let me
Mm-hmm.
go there. Maybe I came actually to see some locations of a printing store, or I think it was Sinorama. Someone told, oh, there it works well. It's a consistent income and
Yeah,
all. I always questioned because printing is something going out of fashion, right? And it's expensive. We are
sure.
moving into a digital, and I always question, is it why they are selling this business? So that rationale was always there. Now, I reflected back that what am I doing? I'm into real estate. That's what my passion is. I know the number game. I know how to not to sell, I know how to make people buy, right? I think I wanted to do that, but the nuances sitting in Canada, even like being so close to US, you don't know the path of it. And
Right,
I knew, so I started interviewing. Like I wanted to be a realtor, but a realtor needed a SSN number to be a realtor. How would I
sure.
get an SSN number? I was like, I don't know that.
Yeah. I don't think
Property,
any visas exist that you can move to US as a realtor. Like, I don't
yeah,
think there's any path for that. Because I
100%.
wanted to set up my own fund, and the E2 did not support that either.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now when you meet people, I think there would be a option, but it requires great investment, like if you are coming as a real estate investor or something like that. Now when I was coming here, I interviewed all county property management, I
Mm-hmm.
interviewed real property, I interviewed, I think all, like even the digital platform in the property management space
Yeah.
was who was selling the franchise. My first option that I thought was I would go with Key Renter.
Mm-hmm.
I met Nate, who is
I
the
met
owner.
Nate as well. Yeah.
Yeah, who's the
Yeah.
owner of Key Renter. Very nice guy.
Yeah.
I was very convinced that this is the place that I want to be
Yeah.
in because I thought that I am fitting well in this culture. I knew on the back of my head that being a franchise owner, you are on your own, but at least a startup and a
Mm-hmm.
person who is also having the same thought process about his business would help me grow faster. I wanted the Raleigh location because location was a major factor, that what area would I cover. They had someone in the Raleigh location who had a complete monopoly in that location. I still see their reviews. They have 500 reviews, 4.9 star. So they are doing pretty good job. He moved from, I
Yeah.
think, Denver to Raleigh, and he acquired all the Raleigh area. So he told that, hey, we sell exclusive listing here. Why don't you move to Charlotte? And I was skeptical in order to move to Charlotte because A, I wanted to live together. That
Yeah.
wouldn't have been possible.
Sure.
B, it would be a immediate hit on my bank amount as well, because of course you have to buy so many things, houses and
Sure.
all the rent houses, car and all those things, which was I was saving here. So I did talk to PMI, but I think James was my salesperson, the franchise person, and they
Yeah.
were
Mine
talking.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we have a very similar journey, Aditya.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I met you after the James part. Like James gave me the options of pillars. I was like, I thought that I want more location, but now when I'm in the business, I want to be like, if this location is mine. I don't want anyone else. I want to be the
Yeah.
top bidder in the lead. I was fighting for location. I want this county, and this county. And they were
Mm-hmm.
like, EMI was very liberal in giving up those location compared to all
Yeah.
county. All county was saying, oh, I can only give you this. I can give you
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the background, nobody explained me like why is this important? Like, what
Yeah.
would you be doing? So PMI was opted, A, because I was getting the location. B, after I joined PMI, I now know the worth of having multiple pillars. I now
Yeah.
know the worth of having so many franchisee people whom I can just bank on and
Yeah.
rely on in terms of what the things is. And I make sure
Yeah.
that if I need something, I get that hold of that person, because nobody's going to come and ask you, hey Aditya, how you doing, do you need help? You have to ask. And like
Yeah.
in class we used to raise our hands that we
Yeah.
need help.
Yeah.
So I think talking to them, sharing your journey, where you're coming from, that helps. Like making those relation and genuine relations
Sure.
a long way. So that's how I chose PMI, but it was not easy. Going back, I'll just move back to that place, E2 visa. I
Yeah.
got signed the franchise agreement and everything that was contingent of having my E2 visa done. I did not know how to do it. I never had made a business plan in my
Yeah.
life. Uh, I knew how to do business, but I was not those
Yeah.
person who said that. And I
Yeah.
remember reaching you at that time, and that's how I met.
Yeah.
how we met.
Yeah.
I started following BMI pages. I saw your comment and I saw, oh, he's a Mehta, maybe a Gujarati. Maybe I
Yeah.
think he would understand business very well, because I
Sure.
do have that biasness that
Yeah.
Gujarati people understand business very well. And I was like, let's reach him.
Yeah.
And I think this journey, Aditya, was not possible without you. And I would be very vocal about that. Whosoever I meet, I make sure, like, even right now, I'm talking to franchisee people. Like, I make sure I tell that, hey, I'm with Addy. So even they, if they are giving me suggestion, they better give me right, because I would confirm with Addy and
Yeah.
he would make sure that the suggestion is right. So I think I
Yeah.
cannot thank you enough, Addy. And I would take this opportunity to thank on your show
Yeah.
how
I
you sent me that business plan, and
Yeah.
how you have made me, without any motive or without any interest, you helped me in order to make sure that I'm getting the same. Because I remember my first call with you, it was an hour long call. You were going on a showing on a drive, and I asked you that you are living a life that I want to live,
Yeah.
and you have already crossed that path. And I was like, it's so fascinating to know someone who has exact, because you moved from Vancouver and
Yeah.
I was, so we had a same journey. And now I reflect back, I see a lot many people that who are doing the same journey, and I never reached. But I think that Canadian experience made me an approachable person, and I know how to reach people now. And
Yeah.
I think when I met you, you told me about the visa process, how it is done. I think I
Yeah.
opted the same lawyer as you did.
Yeah.
The experience, of course, was different, because
Different.
you
Yeah.
had a different team, I had a different team.
Yeah.
They did not even open my file for 2 3 months.
Yeah. I
So that
remember
was
that.
very daunting. I called you, hey Addy, what to do? And you were jump on, hey, do you want me to talk to this person? I can talk. So I
Yeah.
think I can your contribution in, like, of course I was coming, but you were a very good bridge for me
Yeah.
to know how things work. And when I saw your Excel sheets and your business plan, I
Yeah.
was like, Kanch, if you can make this happen, the numbers make sense.
Yeah.
And then I started, like, still, if I'm stuck somewhere, I call you like, hey,
Yeah.
what should be done here?
Yeah.
So thank you for everything, Aditya.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you saying that. I have an abundance mindset. The more franchisees that we help and do well, the better it is for the whole brand. So I would help even someone who's in my own market. I would still help the same way because, we're all in this together. Every city has hundreds of thousands of rental units. If someone else gets 50 units because of my help, it's really not taking away anything from me. The pie is actually growing bigger. And I think I also genuinely enjoy talking to you. Like, I don't think we've ever had a call that ended at the time it was supposed to end. We always talk more and, we go into different things. And so, yeah, if my experience can help someone else and shorten their learning curve, then I'm always happy to do it. I'm not territorial about, oh, these are my spreadsheets and my business plans. I made a huge document when I transitioned from Amazon to property management that literally laid out everything. And I've shared that with like 28 different people who have been in a life transition. And that document was very helpful for me. So I think it's in my nature just to be helpful, not worry about what's in it for me, because all of this is positive karma. If nothing else, it, it always comes back. Sometimes after years, sometimes in a form you never imagined, but it, yeah. So that's always been my nature to help anyone. So I appreciate you being vocal about it and saying it on the show.
I
Yeah.
have started giving it back to, like, if
Yeah.
there is someone who is asking me, I do genuinely invest that time, and it
Yeah.
helps me that, hey, I'm giving it back to the society. I'm giving
Yeah.
it back to the people who really need that, because I
Yeah.
felt that those guidance were very important to me. And I
Yeah.
feel that I can make a change in someone's life. Like, even tenants, like, I got a tenant who wants to start an oil business, right? I have a property owners who is an importer from African oil. I was like, why don't you guys meet?
Yeah. Oh,
Right,
for sure.
like something will happen. Like, if I
Yeah.
can be a help for someone,
Yeah.
and they can, I don't, I would not earn anything, I would not make anything, I would invest more rather time.
Yeah.
But the value and the relationship we make with those connections, I was
Yeah.
like, that will last for lifelong.
And one point I want to make here is that though we, as property managers, represent the owner and our fiduciary duties to the owner, being fair and respectful to tenants goes a long way in
100%.
helping just the whole ecosystem. You're improving the impression of property managers that people have. You're helping your tenants. You're making them feel like they're not just a revenue source, which genuinely believe they're not.
Yeah.
I've helped tenants find jobs. I've had tenants who gave me their other properties to manage, so they became my clients. They said that, you treat us really well as tenants, even while representing the owner. So we want a property manager who does that with our eventual tenants. So it's a dual relationship. But yeah,
Yeah.
all of this just goes a long way in that positive karma cycle. And I think I saw online you had a tenant who you welcomed with like a bouquet of flowers, and they got very emotional in the home. Tell me more about that incident. What was that like?
So this house, they were moving from Charlotte. I know that day was really rough for them. They had to stay in a hotel. They had an accident,
Hmm.
very, very small accident. No one was harmed, but the car was damaged. So it was not that big of a move, but
It's
when I went,
stressful. Yeah.
it was very stressful for them. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make it right. And sometimes I want to make sure that I give that part of the story to the landlord. So the landlord and we
Sure.
decided to make
Yeah.
something nice for them. And I think the emotional were real at that point of time. They
Yeah.
came to the property, they started crying, like, because
Yeah.
it was a stressful day and somebody welcomes to a new place,
Yeah.
a new city like that
Yeah.
is very touchy, right? And
Yeah.
the good part, what I have seen is if an issue arises, if I'm not friends with the tenants, or if I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know the tenants, they
Yeah.
would be like, "Oh, my dishwasher is not working," and
Yep.
this and
Yep.
now she's so nice to me. Hey, Kanj, this is not working. Can you please get
Yeah.
it checked? So
Yeah.
I think the tone changes because you are giving the same importance, not
Sure.
treating tenants as a resident. I never term tenant with them. I have kept in my company that they are resident of that
Yeah.
property, right? So
Yeah.
I learned it from the corporate companies in Canada that don't call them tenant, they are residents,
Yeah.
right?
I'm
So as
gonna
I
steal
told you,
that one.
yeah, so as you were sharing that your tenants are, you're investing properties for your tenants, I'm selling properties to the tenants because I do believe
Yeah.
that these tenants would be future home buyers, right?
Hmm.
And I think all people, when we meet people, it just gives more, like, I'm new to this, what am I going to lose? Like, I want
Yeah.
to do all my showings by myself, because
Of course.
the more, like, yesterday, so I have listed a property, 2 bed 2 bath in Cary, which is a very prestigious
Yeah, I know
neighborhood,
Kerry. Yeah.
in Raleigh. So I got 25 showings in 3 days.
Wow.
Now, first day it was like 10 showings, I got 3 applications. I had to accept one, of course, and I accepted, but I missed all those other showings that was booked. I still repent. What should I do? But the good part is I'm having one more listing coming in. So I made sure that I call every one of them that, hey, I'm sorry you missed it, but listen, what? This is the house.
Mm-hmm.
We are painting it, we are making it ready. It's just maybe 5 minutes away from this
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Let's meet.
Yeah.
I genuinely felt bad because these people booked a showing and I couldn't even meet
Sure.
them, right?
Sure.
And learning about their journey, like, are you nurse, are you therapist, like,
Yeah.
it just gives you topic as a salesperson to talk to people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, you never fail. You either win or you learn. And at the start, I've taken up clients who I knew were gonna be a huge drain on time. They were emotionally attached to the home. They were doing this for the first time. They were coming from a position of mistrust.
Mhm.
But I took them on because I wanted to also learn how that experience is. And of course I was new. I needed all the business I could get, and now I'm at a point where I'm considering, do I let this client go, because it's the revenue to per hour is like $8 an hour. So it doesn't make sense. But I'm glad that you're all set up in North Carolina now and your business has gotten going, and I'm sure you're going to do just fine and become a high performing franchise. I have no doubt about that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how your journey pans out. Let's move into our weekly segments now. At the end of the show, we do these lighthearted segments every week, and we have a few rotating ones. So let's have that wheel spin and see what we land on.
Sure.
This one is called First Footsteps. So when you were new in Canada, especially, I figured that was more of a culture shock than moving to the US. Were there any funny instances that happened due to change in, culture, change in language, or anything? Any funny incidents you can remember as a new immigrant?
Oh yes, I remember my first day. I landed with my family. I remember the hotel that I booked in Mississauga, which is in Toronto. And because when you go to a Marriott in India or a big hotel chain, Oberoi's and all, you know the service that they give,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Before visiting to Canada, I did not explore North America at all. Like
Mm.
I did visit some Asian countries nearby, Dubai, Singapore, and all those
Yeah.
things. But I was not, because those in those places as well, Marriott means luxury to people,
Yeah.
right? So this was Courtyard Marriott. I thought that I would live there for a day or something.
Yeah.
So I'm in my Uber. I have luggage. It was Uber Black because I was with my family, my daughter and my wife, and
Yeah.
luggage, six luggages on the back
Yeah.
trunk. I went to the hotel room. I see the concierge there, and I asked, like, "This is my check-in. This is my booking, and all." He's checking me in and all.
Yeah.
And I asked, "I have luggages in my trunk."
Yeah.
I assumed that someone would come out, will
Sure.
pick my luggage, and drop it to my hotel room.
Yeah.
This never happened. What he did is, I was like, "I have a luggage in my trunk." He's like, "We have a trolley there."
Yeah. Go get it. Yeah. So the person picking and dropping it off is you. It's-
It's you. And I was like, okay, then why did
yeah.
I book that? And
Yeah.
that was a culture I was questioning, like, huh? Like, I
Yeah.
did not even knew how to, pull up the
Yeah.
trolley. And
Yeah.
how would I do that? And how would I put it on the elevator? So that was a
Yeah.
cultural shock and like, okay, reality check. Okay, welcome to that.
I think a lot of people will relate to that story. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you for listening to Diaspora. We hope you enjoyed hearing Ekansh's phenomenal story. Remember to check out our show notes for links and more information about the topics we talked about today. Diaspora is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Diaspora, wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Lastly, if you know someone who has a story that can be shared on our show, feel free to reach out to us on any of our social media handles. We'll be back next week with another interesting story from the South Asian diaspora. Until then, take care and stay curious. And Ekansh, thank you so much for coming today.
Pleasure to be here, Aditya.